Today is December 24th in 2024, so I want to give you guys the best fashion advice I gave myself in 2024 in the format of 24 pieces of advice, of course, to fit the theme of 24. Small disclaimer, I come from a kind of financially limited background, so my advice will be kind of anti-trends and anti-consumerism. We're starting off with one of my favorite questions I like to ask myself when it comes to buying anything for my closet. Do I like this piece because it looks good on other people, or do I like it because I think it would look good on me and fit with my wardrobe? This is the easiest way for me to know when I am being influenced or when I am trying to buy something for a trend rather than for my own closet or my personal style. So as somebody who has a very limited budget when it comes to shopping, this is my favorite question to ask myself because it really makes me think, do I really want to invest in this piece? So I think that's the first and maybe the most important one, especially for people like me who are surrounded by fashion because they choose to be, and you want to make sure that you are using your money wisely and that you are adding something good to your personal style closet that isn't just gonna, go back into the thrift stores next year or next month even. My second advice is one of the only things I'm going to be talking about in regards to shopping, but I only shop during sales. Now, this does mean that occasionally I have missed out on a couple items that I now do regret not having. However, Indeed cool. Come here. Isn't he perfect? Say Merry Crimbus. Say Merry Christmas. Merry Merrimas. Whatever it is that you say in your language. So as I was saying before Cool interrupted me, I have missed out on a couple items that I wish I could have had, like this Nina London skirt that I have been eyeing for several months, and I missed out on the Black Friday sale, and I have not seen it on their website since. Anyways, this not only saves me money because I am part of the Broke Bitches Club, but also allows me to only spend on items that I really want to invest in. And because I'm waiting for these sales or just postponing buying something, it gives me the time to think about it. It gives me the time to look at reviews, to just reconsider the purchase before I've actually done it. My third piece of advice is that less social media means better style and better mental health. If you've subscribed to my channel for a while now, you know that I've taken social media breaks quite a few times, and the most recent one was this summer, and oh my goodness, was it so good for me. I've had phases where I've downloaded TikTok and then uninstalled the app and downloaded it and uninstalled it. I just noticed that every time I would open the app, I would get so miserable. And also every time I was hanging out on Pinterest, I would just always want to buy something. And I am very sick of that. And I feel like my style has been so much more personal, surprise, surprise, when I've not been online as much. I get tired from watching all this content of all this fashion that's supposed to be good fashion or super stylistic and all these staples you gotta have and the must-have boots. Anyways, if you are tired of social media, just uninstall the social media apps. Trust me. My fourth piece of advice is actually a mistake I'm slowly starting to learn from. And that is buying something on a super sale and then thinking I can DIY it or somehow make it fit better with my body type or my style if it doesn't really quite work when I'm trying it on in store. This is something that I've done one too many times, and now it's really starting to piss me off. I am not a master of DIY. I don't have a sewing machine. And yet, when I look at the price tag and I'm like, damn, $10? I should still probably get it. No, I should not have, because it didn't fit with my style or with my body type, especially the body type part. So the advice is to not buy something just because it's on sale, which I know I said earlier I shop only during sales, but just because it's on sale is not a reason to buy it. I should actually want it. It should actually fit me properly. I cannot be the DIY master that some of these other YouTubers are, and I need to accept that. Don't be like me. My fifth piece of advice is that if fashion advice feels off, do your research on it. This is actually why I started shifting my focus from trends and style as something that you can purchase to personal style and fashion research videos, which I think aligns a lot more with my values and with what I want to provide to my audience. Now, obviously, because you're on YouTube, a lot of the fashion advice might be good and a lot of it might be not so good, and it's up to you to look at it, think, does this feel right to me, or is there something that this person missed? We have limited time to do our research and put out these videos, so especially for people who have this as their full-time job, which is my goal here. So my name is Jemi. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We have such little time to do all the research, gather all the evidence, think everything through multiple times over. So if something that you're watching feels off, do your research. And that's something that I started doing because I would be watching some of these videos and be like, I don't know if I agree with that. The most recent example I have of this was Minale's Death of Personal Style video, which I actually made an entire video about because I wanted to add so much of my own commentary and critique about the topic. And honestly, that's what I love about my community and my subscribers. If you're a subscriber, I have really been enjoying my conversations in the comments with my subscribers. I have really enjoyed seeing different perspective, different critique, and as such, when you do see something, comment, think about it, research it, etc. My sixth piece of advice is to always remember that you're almost always being sold something. When you're watching especially short form content or sponsored videos, it's important to think, is this person just showcasing fashion or are they trying to sell me something? And while there's nothing bad with selling a product to somebody, it's just important as the consumer and as the viewer to remember that you're probably being sold something at the end of the day. Not with every case, again, not with every content creator, but it's just good to keep that in mind. Are they trying to sell you something, or do you feel like you have to have something? They don't necessarily have to sell you something with a link and a product. They can also be selling you an idea or a concept like, oh, you have to have matching Christmas pajamas. No, you don't. As somebody who, once again, has a very limited budget, I have to think about this all the time. Number 7 is prioritizing your values in your daily outfits. I've had to get out of the house almost every single day this fall. I really had to value stuff like, is this comfortable? Am I going to be cold on the way over to where I'm going? Every day as I was putting on outfits, half the time they were planned, half the time they were planned and they didn't work out, and then there were the occasions where I just came up with something on the spot. But most of the time I was like, this has to be comfortable, cute, or a little bit edgy. And I think especially when you're somebody who has something to do every single day or has to go somewhere every day, it's just good to be good to yourself. Hold your values in a high place to really adhere to your values. And number 8 is related to the last one, which is that not every outfit is a winner. As such, because I did wake up every day, had to get ready every day, and get out of the house by 9 a.m., not every outfit was a winner, and that's okay. We have days where maybe the night before you're like, oh, this outfit is perfect. Then you wake up the next morning and it's raining cats and dogs, and you're like, this outfit is not perfect, and you have to have a last-minute outfit change. You just have to get through it. Have grace with yourself. Get through the day, accept that the outfit was not it, or whatever we want to do these days to that thing. Not every outfit is perfect. That's completely and totally fine. My 10th piece of advice is actually a lesson I've had to learn the hard way, which is that there is a time and place, even with personal style. This past summer, I went to a place that was like pretty professional, and I thought no one's gonna be there because it's like summer, people are on vacation, etc. So the setting was professional, and I was going there with shorts and a t-shirt, and I met my partner up with there, and then we happened to run into his coworker. It was kind of an embarrassing moment for him. He was kind of like, we're not really trying to like dress this way to impress our colleagues. Damn, I messed up. I realized through that and through some other past events that there is a time and place. You don't always have to shine or have like the most personal style relevant outfit. And I think this is actually in correlation to what I said in my most recent video, the Minale video, that when you go into these social settings, especially professional settings like work or school, you should still dress probably appropriately for that occasion, for that event, especially if you want to get by without feeling embarrassed, without having any problems. And this is just adhering to the ideal self that focuses on how other people perceive you. Can you tell I am reliving my embarrassment? If in doubt, ask for the dress code. For number 10, my next advice is to accept overdue necessary changes in your style and evaluate why and how they came about. So for example, with me, I became a lot more modest this year. I sold a lot of my more revealing tops. I've just kind of been enjoying more oversized and modest looks. And I think that is actually related to something I'll talk about more later, which is my values and my goals and dreams. I realized that this change was very overdue. Like, I was really trying to force myself to keep wearing the same style that I associated myself with for the past 5 years in New York. And I'm realizing I'm not in New York. I don't have a persona to have to upkeep. I don't have this pressure to like dress in high fashion. I can dress however I want. And so with these changes of environment came changes to my personal style. I think they were necessary changes. Like, I do not identify with the person I was 3 or even 2 years ago. And thus, I don't really identify with a lot of what that person wore either. Like, yes, I do still have a lot of pieces that I had back then. I do still love to wear the same clothes that I loved to wear back then. But there are some things from back then that I do not like anymore, and it's because I don't have the same goals anymore. And as such, now that I am not a New York fashionista, which I'm so freaking happy about and we'll talk about later, I am really enjoying a very different style and all the style changes that came about with all that moving and leaving New York. Number 11 is know your limits in what you can do. This is, for me, DIYing. I cannot DIY as well as other YouTubers, like I mentioned, and I wish I could. I wish I could make my own dresses, maybe someday in the future, but for now, I need to stop assuming that, hey, I can totally hem that, I can DIY that, and this limit might be something different to you. It might be, for example, maybe you don't really know how to layer, or you don't feel comfortable styling certain pieces you have, but you feel like you have to style them. There are many limitations that we all have that I think we should come to accept, maybe try to improve if we can. I am currently crocheting, I am learning knitting, but I am accepting my limitations that I cannot suddenly make the cutest little cat hat. I have to go through the mud to get to a clean place, a better place, whatever is the end result of walking through mud. What even is that thing supposed to mean? English language. My 12th piece of advice is to make your inner child happy. When I was a child, I was a very fancy dresses girl. You know, I wanted to be the princess. I wanted to be the fairy. This year, I bought myself a birthday present that aligns with my inner child's wishes. Yes, cool, you are not my inner child, you are my cat. Though the skirt is fancy, it's not everyday wear, and it's kind of unconventional, I think it's very pretty. It makes my inner child so happy. It's shiny, shimmery, pretty, very princessy. Even though it's not something I'll wear every single day because I can't, it is something that I love and adore, and my inner child is screaming with joy. And especially if you had things that you valued as a child, especially when it comes to like clothes, I do think it's important to listen to that inner child, to give them that dream skirt, dream dress, etc., to just fulfill your inner child now that you're an adult. Truly one of the most fulfilling things I have done this year, truly something that I do not regret. My 13th advice is to balance the current and the ideal self. The grass is always greener is a known lie, and it is something that we will always think about in every single aspect of our lives, including fashion. But I think it's important to remember that the grass is not always greener on the other side, and we're always going to want a what if I was richer, what if I had the best gown. Learning to find contentment with your current self, even if adhering to your ideal self a little bit, I think is very, very important, especially when it comes to personal style. If we get stuck on the ideal style, we can turn it accidentally into persona style, which I talked about in my last video, and I think it's very, very unhealthy to be in a persona style state or to just have a persona overall. It's so self-deprecating, and it really is kind of at its core a little bit self-hatred as well. Keep a balance between your current self and your ideal self. So just stay true to yourself, and even if you have all these dreams and hopes and you're trying to act accordingly, you're trying to fit in, Just remember to also be true to yourself. You can do you best. Number 14 is who you portray on the outside matters if you want to feel good on the inside. What I mean with this is adhering to your wants and your needs in your personal style rather than adhering to what, say, society wants you to wear. A recent example that I thought of when I was thinking about this topic was actually my own mom. My parents visited me over the summer. They came from Finland and they had an amazing time. And there was this moment where my mom was like, I want to buy pretty flowy dresses. I want to dress in a way that makes me feel a little bit more fancy, a little bit more ethereal. When she bought those dresses, she just completely lit up. She was so happy. I come from a family where we have a lot of insecurities. Typical thing about women being told to stay in their place, told to not wear certain things, being fat shamed, etc. I just found it so beautiful that she was loving herself, feeling so good on the outside that it started to show on the inside. Like there was just genuine joy when she was wearing these pretty dresses, and it made even me it made me so happy to see her so happy. And because she was separated from her social circles while she was here, I think it allowed her to dress a little bit more like she would want to dress. So I think if you want to feel good about yourself, think less about what others think about you and more about what it really is that you want to wear. What is it that makes you happy? Because it can really make you happy on the inside too. My 15th piece of advice is that when your values, goals, and dreams change, your style changes with them. This is something that I only came to realize very recently after I moved out of New York. I used to want to be like other YouTubers, to get invited to events, to mingle with other creators, and to be the it girl. I actually got a small taste of that world during my last year in New York City, and I gotta say, the more exposure I had to that world, the less I wanted to have anything to do with it. I guess the thing is that I just realized that a lot of my values don't align with that dream. And so that dream was dying the more I was being exposed to these kinds of lifestyles and worlds, and I was like, this isn't me. And this just had me realizing that the grass is not greener on the other side. There's just more money and popularity. I've never really wanted to be a popular girl, and I think it applies to this case as well. I just personally do not see anything attractive about being fake or about being like admired for your fakeness or money or your popularity. Like I never really have found those things to be like life-changing or amazing. So when I realized that that's kind of what it's about, I was like, oh, no thanks. So eventually that dream started to die, and it started to get replaced by a more long-term dream of mine, which is to help people, educate people, etc. I realized that this kind of dream life that was being sold to me was in fact a life that I didn't want. And when I realized that, my style changed. I don't wear the New York City it girl outfits. I don't wear the outfits that get me into the fashion circles. Heck, I wear whatever I want to wear. I don't wear what somebody else tells me is fashionable. That is the biggest change in my style in 2024, is to seriously not give a crap about what some fashion it girl on Instagram tells me is fashionable. So for you, if you have different values and dreams and goals that are coming up and they don't align with what you had in the past, you'll probably notice this change in your style as well, and just go with that flow. Accept it, evaluate it, look back on what you did differently. Look at how you can style yourself now in a way that aligns with your values now. Number 16, plain and simple, brands don't mean shit. I have lots of high quality pieces from no-name brands that I have kept for 5 years, 10 years, etc. Brands really just don't matter when it comes to like quality. Like you can find the most random thrifted thing that will last through hundreds of washes and still look amazing. Point being that you can thrift, you can DIY, you can make your own clothes. It doesn't have to be branded for it to be good or high quality. Heck, I'm gonna start crocheting more, and just you wait. One day soon, I'm gonna be wearing the cutest crocheted sweater, and you're gonna be like, where is that from? And I'll be like, me. Number 17, which I've repeated constantly on this channel, is patience for personal style discovery is a virtue. Have the patience, discover your personal style at your own pace, actually experience it, actually get to know it, actually understand yourself. I cannot emphasize how much better I feel about my style, about my outfits, about my identity after focusing on my personal style. There's just something about aligning your identity on the external with the internal that is amazing. That honestly just makes me so happy. Every time I think about my personal style from the last 4 or 5 months, I'm like actually happy. For advice number 18, we have respect your body type. I have bought one too many things that did not fit my body type, but I thought I could, once again, DIY them or do something to them that would make them feel a little bit more like they fit with my body type. And surprise, surprise, did not work. This body type thing is very complicated because unless you're making your clothes yourself, sometimes certain pieces just don't work with your body type. If I were able to make my own little itty bitty tops, cute little crop tops, they would look cute because I made them and they fit perfectly with my body. But unfortunately, I can't do that right now. I need to make sure that I'm purchasing something that is good for my body type. The most annoying example I've had is that I always felt like I had to have these body-hugging dresses because I'm an hourglass body type, and that's usually recommended for my body type. So take all that body type advice with a grain of salt, but also respect your body. So in my case, I didn't really want to wear these hourglass figure dresses. It did not really align with what I want to wear. I like my dresses to be flowy and pretty and have this like movement to them that these bodycon dresses don't have. When I decided to not have any of those dresses in my wardrobe, I became so much happier. And I am adhering to my values, I'm adhering to my needs, and I'm adhering to my body type. So respect your body and your body will thank you. Advice number 19 is to get to actually know your closet instead of shopping for more. I know some YouTubers like Beep World have been using this app called Index where they catalog all of their pieces and all of their outfits for the year. I think that's a pretty good way to get to know your closet if you don't familiarize yourself with it. Otherwise, I don't have that many clothes. I like to keep my wardrobe on the minimal side, and also I have to because I have never once had a full closet to myself since I moved out of my parents' house. Getting to know your closet is just beneficial in many ways. 1, you stop shopping like crazy. You start feeling like you already have what you need for the most part. 2, you actually find ways to outfit repeat multiple times over with different pieces. You just have this outfit innovation, this kind of natural creativity to your outfit cycling. But my point being is, if you get to know your closet, you are much more likely to have a good time with the clothes you actually bought. Advice number 20 is a fashion rut might be just what you need. Usually when we get into a fashion rut, it means that we have strayed from our personal styles and we've started to be a little bit too inspired by what we see online or elsewhere. And then we're suddenly trying to emulate all these it girls or it boys online. Suddenly your shopping cart is full of random pieces that you probably won't even like in a year. A fashion rut is just the necessary process that we need to do, and I think we all get a fashion rut eventually throughout our lives, because the thing is, our style changes, it evolves, and when you're in a fashion rut, usually that means something has been changing a little too much into a certain direction that you may have not actually wanted to take, or that there's something else underlying there, mental health related, etc., that might be bothering you and needs addressing. So I would take note of that fashion rut and address it. Number 21 is a good bag is a bestie. I have used my tote bags religiously, especially this last fall, because I have textbooks that I need to carry every day. I have actually been taking Japanese classes. Can you tell from my smile that I've been so excited? And thus, because I was going to class every day, I needed a bag. I just think having a bag, like a solid bag that you can trust every single day, just saves a lot of hassle. I do one day want to buy the baggu bags that go over the shoulder, but they are currently out of my budget. My bags may not be the prettiest, but they are practical. And I think that is what's really important. Fashion advice 22 is a regrettable mistake I have made repeatedly. Don't let go of the pieces that really matter just because you've had them for a long time. I have gotten rid of some of my most favorite pieces in this entire universe because I thought, I've had this for a long time. I shouldn't have to have this anymore. Sweetie, if it works, it works. If you love it, you love it. If you love it, don't get rid of it. Sometimes a nostalgia piece or something that you've had for a long time means that it's good for you. Wear that thing for several years. This, I've had it for 5 years. I will continue to have it, so don't get rid of the pieces that you love just because it's been in your closet for a long time or because it's special occasion wear. I know this is kind of counterproductive with closet cleanouts, but there are just certain pieces that will probably stay with you for most of your life, and I'm starting to believe that that is completely okay. There is no such thing as an expired item in your closet if you love it. Advice number 23 is that the trend you're absolutely obsessed with will absolutely pass. Spoken as somebody who has noticed a trend that she has been obsessed with pass multiple times and come to realize maybe I didn't like it that much after all. Or maybe I will, and then I'll be disappointed because I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. So if you have a trend that you are obsessed with, just give it time. See if it's actually something that you actually love, or if it's just something you're obsessed with because everyone else is obsessed with it too, and it's natural to want something that everybody else wants. And for our final advice, advice 24, this is something that I've carried with me through my entire life, honestly. You may never fit in, but that's not always a bad thing. This has applied to me in fashion, in career paths, in my lifestyle, etc. You just will probably not always fit in, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Fitting in doesn't guarantee you happiness. Fitting in doesn't guarantee you success. Fitting in doesn't guarantee you something of the type of the grass is always greener on the other side, because maybe the grass is not greener when you fit in. I think it's better to be true to yourself than to be someone else for the convenience of others. So just because your style doesn't fit in with the most normie, generic style crowds doesn't mean it's bad. Just because your style is boring or basic doesn't mean that that's bad. I think if you're staying true to you, that's all that matters. And that's 24 pieces of advice for 2024. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like this video. Let me know if you enjoy more chatty content. I don't really usually do these chatty videos, but if you like them, let me know. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your holidays, and Cool and I will see you next year.